This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And I'm coming to you straight from the hospital where, after spending about 5 hours there today, found out I have a blood clot in my left leg due to being in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. Starting about 3.5 weeks ago, I've been having problems walking and trying to run and even having problems doing yoga. So my family doctor ordered an ultrasound, and the ultrasound people told me to go directly to the emergency room. So they got me on some temporary blood thinners, and I guess I'll see a specialist tomorrow and find out if hopefully it can be resolved by blood thinners and not have to be surgically removed. It's from about mid-thigh to the bottom of my calf, so pretty serious stuff. But things are good. I'm alive. By the way, Great North Wrestling returns to Renfrew November 4th. Jack Kilby announced today Rene Dupree is going to be Magnum McLaren's first opponent as Canadian champion. Rene Dupree is, of course, a former Canadian champion himself. That should be a pretty darn good event. Super Crazy, who was supposed to be on the September 2nd version of that event that got delayed due to my health issues till November 4th, he was replaced by Rene Dupree in Great North Wrestling in 2024, where we have a big schedule planned. But let's jump right into the news here. WWE announced their second quarter financial results August 2nd, which was their highest earning quarter of all time, $52,114,000 in profit. They're making huge money. This is a little deceiving though. They're claiming they had their highest attended live events. Meltzer even points out 98 to 2,000. They averaged 12,000 per event, and they were doing a lot more events. They had apparently 41 live events this quarter in North America and 10 live events outside of North America, so hardly the 7-day schedule of 3 crews every night of the 80s. But they averaged 9,870. I'm not sure if that includes comps or not. That's a great number. Not taking away from that number. I'm just saying there's a lot less house shows and a lot less shows. So, while the average from the 80s might be lower than that, there was A, B, and C shows in the 80s pretty much every night. But there's no doubt they're making more money now than ever. And it's easier to be a wrestler now than ever. Because in the 80s, a lot of the times, like Raymond Rougeau, for instance, even when he had a broken leg, they still expected him to go on the road and stand in the corner of Jacques Rougeau. Now, if you get injured, they never expect that. And you're only working 1 or 2 times a week. So it's a real easy schedule and you make a lot more money. So good for the progress there. Apparently for the last quarter, Raw averaged a 0.57. SummerSlam has sold 43,500 tickets, with 48,173 tickets out. They are claiming that a sellout would be 60,000. Nick Khan is claiming that. Meltzer brings up that when they had WrestleMania at that same venue in 2007, they announced 80,103, and the actual number was 74,687. So basically, whatever they have, they're going to call it a sellout and just curtain off what's not sold. It's going to be a good number no matter what. But what they do, they call anything a sellout now. They'll just say it's a sellout for the setup. Apparently, the Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus SummerSlam match was canceled. I'm not a big Becky Lynch fan, but I feel bad for Trish Stratus for that, because she must have been pretty excited to be part of a big show. I mean, she was in WrestleMania, which was, I did watch WrestleMania Night 1, and that was one of the not top matches of WrestleMania Night 1, so I can understand why they would scrap it from SummerSlam. I don't know if it's official or not yet, but supposedly the Rhea Ripley SummerSlam match might also be scrapped if it hasn't been scrapped. Vince McMahon, 78, had a very serious spinal surgery this week. More than 4-hour operation. Nobody knew until a few days after. He hasn't even been working remotely this week. He's recovering. It also came out this week, by coincidence or not. Maybe they were looking for sympathy with that news coming out. Who knows? That Vince McMahon is being investigated by federal law enforcement authorities. They did not reveal why, but it's believed it has to do with the payouts made to various women that caused him to leave the company around this time last year, which I had said the whole time. He wasn't really gone from the company. Apparently, he was still working out in the office at the company gym every day. So as John Plaza said, it's not like he's just going to the office to work out and not talking business with anybody. But he had officially left as head of the company for a bit. But he's back as chairman. And as far as I know, the new UFC group, which some people say stop saying UFC owns it, Endeavor owns it. Endeavor owns UFC. But they're keeping Vince McMahon in charge. Sonny goes to trial for DUI manslaughter for the death of a 75-year-old man back in March 2022 while killing a guy while supposedly under the influence and operating a vehicle with a suspended license. That goes to court August 21st, Ormond Beach, Florida. WWE is coming back to India. They're going to be running... I'm sorry. I know I have a lot of Indian fans. And by the way, Jinder Mahal used to be one of my best friends when we were both in Stampede Wrestling together. Some of his last matches before WWE were in Great North Wrestling. His most famous GNW match was against Psycho Sid. I wrestled him a bunch of times. He's never beaten me. Me and Samoa Joe beat him and his old tag team partner, who's now in Impact. But I do like him. Great guy. So anyways, I'm not taking away from India. I'm just saying that apparently they're running a 5,000 seat building. It's going to be set up for 3,500. Sony is basically paying for this event, according to Meltzer. The last time they came, they drew 9,000 fans for Triple H, who was only a part-timer, beating Jinder Mahal in the main event in India after they went to all the trouble of making Jinder Mahal champion and building him for a year. And Meltzer even says here, and I'll quote this, they took the title off him weeks before the show and Triple H went over on him in a match even though Triple H was a part-timer. But Mahal was never pushed big after that, end quote. The last I saw Mahal, he was on NXT jobbing to Braun Breaker, which was a good match. And Braun Breaker, as I said, in my opinion, he should be the one to beat Roman Reigns. He's got a big upside. But I always was mad at that victory because why did Triple H need to beat Jinder Mahal in India? I mean, that made no sense. It basically killed Jinder Mahal's push. Bobby Roode, who once did a WWE extra job with me in Calgary and Kelowna, who's been out of action with a serious neck injury, is apparently in Detroit this week. I like Bobby Roode. SmackDown last week in New Orleans did 7,300 paid. Raw in Houston, Texas, this week did 11,600 paid. Texas loves its wrestling. In AEW news, Tony Khan has re-signed Rush, and re-signed the Elite Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks. Apparently, he made offers they couldn't refuse before WWE even made them formal offers, from what I understand. Omega's contract could have possibly been over. I think it was over. and WWE was most interested in Omega apparently. The Elite and Hangman Page's contract aren't done until closer to the end of the year, and Rush's, I think, had more time on it, but he re-signed all of them. Um, and it's the reason, which I already discussed, the main reason they took this, according to Meltzer, is because they only have to work basically 1 day a week. They all have to only work Dynamite days on non-pay-per-view weeks, so it's an easy job. And whatever offer they were made that was good enough to not even wait for WWE to make a formal offer, if that's true, must have been a huge offer. Apparently Kip Sabian, Evil Uno, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds have all signed new 3-year deals. Evil Uno's wrestled for Great North Wrestling before. Congratulations to him. I mean, he's taken the ball and ran with it. I'll give him credit for it. Congratulations to you, sir. At press time, there's 77,952 tickets out for Wembley Stadium's AEW show. 71,500 paid. Apparently, Jeff Jarrett versus Grado is going to be one of the matches on the show. Gosh, I mean, I actually want to see this show, but I sure hope that they come up with some better stuff than that. Sportico did a business story on AEW. A few notable things from that was apparently the company would be worth about $1 billion if it were to sell today. And Tony Khan apparently started AEW with $100 million capital investment, and that money has yet to be fully recouped. I'm sure it will eventually. I'm telling you, I'm impressed. I mean, I might not be a fan of the product directly, but following them, I mean, obviously I wouldn't do the same things, but I mean Tony Khan's doing a great job. I mean, we all like seeing different styles of wrestling, but I mean, people complain there wasn't a lot of big guys. There's a hell of a lot of big guys in AEW now. I like that he's bringing back guys like RVD and Sabu, giving them paydays. I wish there was more names on the show. Hopefully I'll see more in the future, but overall he's done a great job. I can't say anything bad about it. I can't say anything bad about WWE or AEW. They're both doing great. Apparently, there's a story out there now saying Bret Hart was offered to work as an agent, or Bret Hart wanted to work as an agent for AEW, but Tony Khan turned him down because they didn't want him as an agent. They wanted him in front of the camera. Apparently, that request happened back in 2019. The news of it is only coming out now. AEW, July 29th in Hartford, had 4,763 fans. August 2nd, Dynamite in Tampa, 4,871 fans. So again, I mean, some of those are comped, yes, but Impact never drew in all of their time, even when they were doing at one point around 2010 huge ratings on Spike. They were never like, maybe their best pay-per-view number may have been 4,000 fans at their very peak. So like, considering all the North American competition WWE's had since WCW, AEW is doing great. Adrian Street, who I got an interview with on this channel, passed away a couple of days ago at 82 due to brain cancer. His last Facebook post was, quote, "After several more weeks of various hospitals for both heart and brain surgery, I am back home. Let's hope I manage to stay, if I'm lucky. It's all due to my lovely wife, Linda. Love you very much," end quote. There you go. There you go. I mean, what a great last message. God bless you, Adrian. Steve Kern, 71, who has numerous interviews on this channel, including one with me, said he underwent successful throat tumor removal. He's cancer-free. MMA news. Congratulations to you, Steve, by the way. happy about that. Very nice guy in my dealings with him. I mean, MMA news: UFC 291, July 29th in Salt Lake City. The prelims did a 0.69 rating. That's pretty damn good. They had 18,467 fans for a gate of almost $7 million at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. You have The Rock bought UFC fighter Temba Grimbo a house in Miami. Very nice of him. Apparently, Temba, who is from, I don't know exactly where, but a poor country, didn't have much money. UFC does not pay very much to their fighters. Dwayne Johnson bought him a house. Good for him. Logan Paul is returning to boxing October 14th in Manchester, England. His opponent is yet to be announced. John Cena, who I got a lot of respect for, was in the #1 movie this week, the Barbie movie, as well as the #1 streaming movie, Hidden Strike, in which he starred with Jackie Chan. I will watch that and review it. I want to see that. By the way, Billy Jack Haynes has been in touch with me quite a bit lately, and he's doing all right. Still, the conspiracy theory stuff is not a gimmick, guys. It's full of conspiracy theories. How's my Friday going, Jason? I spent a good chunk of it in the hospital. I'm hoping that my Saturday, when I have to go back, goes a bit better. But they found I had a blood clot, a very large blood clot in my leg. So I'm rather than find that than me be out running or trying to run and have the blood clot come loose, have a heart attack or stroke. That's how Chris Crandito died, flying with a blood clot. So I'm glad they found it. I'm a very lucky and blessed person. Very, very lucky. I thank God for the blessings. Whatever I've been put on this earth to do. It's not my time. So just keep plowing forward. As I pointed out at the start of this, November 4th, there's a big event coming up in Renfrew, Ontario. I'm going to be back in fighting shape for that event, but one of the issues is I got to get rid of this first, which I knew I had a leg issue, but I didn't know what the hell it was till today. No Gimmicks Guy tomorrow at 10 a.m. A new episode of the Old School Shooters with Bulletproof Blake Troop. And I know Ahmed Johnson is supposed to appear, I think, next week on the podcast, on one of the podcasts. I think Jeremy Prophet, for whatever reason, is going to be interviewing Ahmed Johnson on this channel. And Jamie Dundee is going to be doing an interview with Jack Kilby. I was supposed to interview Greg Valentine yesterday, but he backed out of the gathering for some reason. So Tank Abbott, I'll probably reconnect with him. He overcame, he thought his liver was being rejected. His new liver was being rejected, and it ended up being not that. So he had a health scare recently. But yeah, he wants to do another interview with me. So, drink maple syrup, you'll get better. Yeah, I don't think so. They told me not even to do yoga until this thing goes away, because apparently if you move too much, this thing could come loose. And as I said, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, at least I know what's up. So I wish everyone a great weekend. I'm going to get some rest because they did a lot of blood tests on me today. I'm really sick of having blood tests. I've had so many blood tests lately. Young Macho Man. Yeah, I reported earlier Ted DiBiase Jr. is facing 45 years in prison. Here's no gimmick guy Jack Kilby. Thank you for refreshing my memory. I've had a long day. Jamie Dundee, Todd Gordon, ECW founder Jack Victory, who I also interviewed recently, and Bill Alfonso. I also did an interview with Bill Alfonso that was very, very popular. So these are all great interviews coming up. Jack Kilby is kicking ass. Ian Ritchie Hodgkins from Ireland. We got fans from literally all over the world on this channel. By the way, speaking of Jack Kilby, I posted a lot of the Great North Wrestling Smith Falls matches, and the Canadian title match between Magnum McLaren and Jeremy Prophet will be posted soon. Little Guido versus Harry Smith, which was a very good match, is up. There have been rumors that Harry Smith might be on the Wembley Stadium show. Since I didn't see him when he was here, I didn't get to ask him any inside details of that. But I hope that rumor's true. He deserves it. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button.